Hotline League is brought to you by Omen by HP.
Yeah, this is going to be a change of pace.
Okay. Life Admiral is on the show. Where are you calling from, Life Admiral?
I'm calling from the Middle East.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the show. It's always nice to have callers from all over the world. What do you want to talk
morning. Actually, all right, so I think it's about time that we talk about the elephant in the room. Who talks about, well, TSM's going to pick it up and everything, but it's time to shine a light on CLG and the fact that it seems that they have the single worst coaching staff in the league. It does not appear like that they understand meta. Now, yeah, I get it. Every single person on CLG right now has been to Worlds. Ranover's been to Worlds in two different leagues. Darshan, Huni, and Stixay all together on CLG, and Biofrost on TSM. But the fact is, once Smithy went, and once Afro moved, suddenly this team does not understand macro. They're doing things like trading two mid lane towers for an ocean dragon, things like that. So I think this really comes down to the coaching staff, because it's happening week after week after week after week, where they're making mistakes and nobody seems to be picking up on, oh, hey, this is a mistake. Now, I wanted to say this to Biofrost last week, but I kind of fell asleep before it started. So, give me your opinion. But I think this coaching staff needs a turnover, personally.
Liquid, by the way, as you're saying this, Liquid Steve in chat says CLG has one of the best coaches in the league. So already got he either is playing the long game here where he's like trying to keep CLG with a shitty coach, or he actually disagrees with you. I don't know. So this is less of a Chopper question, more of a Mark question, because I wouldn't expect the head of NALCS to discuss if he thinks that the coaching staff for CLG
He's
are
a
shitters.
fan. He says he watches
Chopper,
the game.
yeah, Chopper's
I mean,
Zikz wants to be fired.
Here's the thing that I just want to say before. I've been a fan of CLG like a long time. We're talking 2012, back when GG was GG and Link and Chowster were on the team. Like, we're talking a long time. So I've seen a lot of different iterations of CLG. So this version does not seem well coached to me.
So I'll actually jump in, since you make fun of me for not knowing my analytical shit, Travis.
What? I just don't expect.
And then I'll let Mark have like.
You guys are always very hands off, but I'm excited, Chopper.
No,
Go.
I mean, look, like I've seen Zikz around for years now, and I think there's something to be said for a guy that has coached one of the only 3 franchises that has ever lifted a championship banner in NA. And like, this is a team that's been competitive over the course of years, and at various times has had more success than less success. And they're going through a struggling patch right now, but like, that literally could turn around in patch 8.4. Like, you don't know whether or not these guys are going to kind of turn around for the second half of this season, or maybe even the split. We've seen these guys able to kind of go back and forth and channel that magic and make great runs like they did at MSG. So, I personally think it's tough to kind of hit that hard on Zikz. I mean, I'm sure there's elements of his coaching that Mark could probably diagnose more accurately than I could, but like, I think judging a guy by 6 weeks when he's been successful for the course of 4 years is a little preemptive.
Mark.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly kind of the point I would make. Just like, yes, I agree, there's been some things I don't like. One of the things that we hear a lot about is like, the drafts are particularly weird, and for someone who's usually known for drafting, it's like, oh man, this really sucks to see. Maybe he's lost his touch, but like, the team's also not playing well, and it's one of those things where like, you can have a draft that has a couple win conditions, and then if you don't play to them, it looks like a bad draft. And so a good example of this would have been like the Camille Aurelion Sol game, where like, we're used to seeing who he shit on kids with Aurelion Sol. The joke is like, every time he picks it, oh man, it's the Aurelion Sol, like, the once every couple months you leave it up and get shit on to remind yourself that who he's good with it. Except that didn't happen this time, and they over-focused top lane and all that stuff happened. So it looked like, oh, what a shit draft because they got outscaled. So I think it's a bit of a chicken or the egg, where it's like, the team kind of sucks. Did Zikz lose his touch? Probably not. And maybe he has, but I would give him more than 1 I guess at this point, 2/3 of a bad split before you're calling for his head.
I think that's fair. It speaks volumes about how he tanked once Smith went, and then after Afro even went worse. So I think those players actually had a much bigger emphasis on the team. The team did than Zikz did, because Zikz seems to be the only constant. So that's my opinion. But I have no problem with sitting and watching. Just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I can feel that, but like, you know, like Chopper said, they've hoisted a banner. They were 4th last split. They changed out 2 players, and suddenly they're 9th. Like, probably has to do with some of those other changes that happened.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what goes on.
Hey, thanks so much,
Yeah.
Life Admiral, for calling in, and thank you for calling. I'm sure it's pretty late or pretty early there, so I appreciate you.
6:30? No, 7.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being up at this time for us. Thanks. All right. Moving on to our next caller.